Welcome back to the 903 podcast. This week, I sat down with Casey Muze. I talked with him about growing up and growing into himself in East Texas, how his musical endeavors became a tool for healing, and how we can better communicate our experiences to be less harmful to ourselves and others. Here's what's happening in the 903. Welcome back to the 903 podcast. I'm Andrew Darrington, your host. Today we're here in Tyler, Texas at the Young Professional Building. We have the esteemed Casey Muze as a guest. Casey is a distinguished musical therapist, a speaker, an expert in mental health, and an author. And he's the founder of Avenue Speak LLC. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Dude, I appreciate you having me on and just creating the space for this conversation. Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll get to the book that you authored here in just a minute, but let's talk about early upbringings. So you grew up in Longview and in Sabine.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about how growing up was for you.
Yeah, man, it was interesting. And this is really transparent conversation, actually. So I was born in Longview, and on the south side of Longview, but then moved to Sabine, Texas. And so if you can imagine growing up in kind of urban, inner city culture, but then transitioning to country bumpkin, blah, 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 where I went to school, and I was one of few African Americans in the school, or at least in my grade. I say that's no different, even when I was, because my mom was in education, and so I always went to school in different places. So, but yeah, it's just very interesting. I would tell you that growing up in East Texas, but not only growing up in East Texas, because I've lived in Nacogdoches while I worked in Lufkin, Texas, continuing my career doing mental health and substance abuse work. And I did a lot of road travel doing adolescent treatment when I lived in Lufkin, right? And man, so one of my favorite things in this world is Ninja Turtles. And so by homage, I kind of call myself the East Texas Rat because it's an homage to Master Splinter.
Yeah.
But sometimes East Texas is rough because, man, when you do something that's very different and unique and alone and by yourself and not anything that people are used to seeing, there's so much fight that you got to go through, right? And I've learned a lot by living in East Texas because just walking through the fire, just trial by fire. But yeah, it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah, for sure. So you talked about your mom just a second ago in education. Was she a pathway towards getting into mental health and getting into recovery?
I don't know, man, but my mom is definitely a catalyst in me exploring drumming. Like, I mean, I have a similar goofy story like a lot of kids have when they were introduced to rhythm. I'm gonna say rhythm and not drumming. So my mom let me continue to pull pots and pans out and beat on pots and pans because she observed different techniques at the age of like 2, right? And so like I would modulate the resonance or the ringing of the pots and pans at 2. And so she gifted me an hour every single day to play.
Wow.
But then it transitioned into me continuing to play pots and pans for a very long time. Then when I got into junior high, I got into play band and percussion and things like that, and then became a performance percussionist, professional performance percussionist. Went to school for sound engineering and music production and music theory. And then dived into it deeper enough to understand that the math and the science behind frequencies and energy, what that means is I understand what frequency number attached to what replication of energy produces what neurotransmitter in your brain. And so I understand things much differently than I think most people do who get in the space of mental health because of my background connected to music theory with it. Right. And that's like utilizing all those things, right? And then so I've spent 14 years of mental health and then 10 years of music therapy and then 8 years of trauma intervention and 6.5 working with the specific project Brace No More, right? And so what that looks like. And I've introduced it in a new space pretty recently with the new evolution of what it looks like, and so I've been really excited to introduce that to the world.
Brace No More is a website, but it's also a service, correct?
So, backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
Braced No More started with simply the book, Braced No More.
Okay, gotcha.
Then the website home was built for Braced No More. So we won't say the whole title. It's Braced No More, Healing the Quiet Wounds of Endurance, right? So the subtitle was Healing the Quiet Wounds of Endurance, right? But the book was formed before anything else. And what's super cool about the book is it's a virtual book. I don't say digital book because it's very different. It's a virtual book that has embedded music in the background for dopamine and serotonin release. And then it has the sound of the pages that flip as you thumb through them, and it goes shoo, 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 right? And then it also has like pop-up sections that say, here's a reflection question for you to think about. Here's your reminder to breathe. Here's another PDF with the poem and some other things and some other resources. Here, think about this biopsychosocial formatted question, this body, people, mind, world perspective thing, yada, 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 right? So it has all those things that are there that are just so deep and really intentional, right? Yeah, but then it lives on the website, bracednomore.info, that has all the offerings there that are associated with it.
It's a lot. There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot.
A lot of resources.
There's a lot, yeah. And not to mention, it's just a really pretty website.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
It's super cool, yeah.
It's got it's a couple links to introduction where the reader can maybe just get a snippet of like what they're going to dive into.
Yes.
Which is nice. You mentioned the hidden cost of endurance, or like the quiet wounds. Sorry.
Quiet wounds course. Right? Yeah.
And I think anybody who's listening or watching knows a caretaker or someone who's been in a situation longer than is healthy.
It can be anyone from a daughter or a son taking care of their parent, their elder parent with dementia. It can be anybody who is dealing with a person who has bipolar or manic depressive or DID, dissociative identity disorder, right? And so then they flip, or their cognitive functioning is not present enough for them to be aware of what their actions were, right? And so, so all those things, man, Brace No More is meant for you.
That's right. In some of my research, you talk about using different words to change your life. Talk to us a little bit about that. How, because I mean, I've heard of that, and I think a lot of people may have seen things and heard things, but walk us through kind of how your therapies work with that.
Yeah. So oftentimes, like, you will have people coming into therapy and they internalize a word that is very based upon their belief system that they've learned from their parents or their mother, or doctrination of things, right? Anything in the world. They even just heard it from their grandparents, and now it's just super cool, right? And it's super rewarding to say, or so they think. But then oftentimes, like, they continue to say it, it's fun, it's light, it feels good, right? But it feels good in the moment. And reality, a lot of times, sometimes, not all the time, right? What's happening is that word alone, because it's connected to a past that you were trying to break away from, allows you to stay in that moment of not identifying a life that looks different, right? If that makes sense. And this looks in various of ways, right? And sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes it is. I encourage all people to look at and process and audit their language and their verbiage really closely, right? It also works in the case of friendships and social circles, right? Because sometimes, like, people are open and having a bunch of friends, right? A plethora of friends, or just a high number of friends, right? but not everybody truly matters, right? It's kind of like,
Sure.
yeah.
A lot of them are superficial.
Absolutely, right?
Or acquaintances. I'm a friend because you're a friend of this person.
Yeah, and in truth, right, it's like as you get older, you want to have as many dynamic friends as possible.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. And then a lot of times it's like what it looks like is the time that you have that you got back, right? That's the time that you spend looking for the productive thing, whether it's the productive habit, productive saying, productive people, productive places, right? So all those things matter.
When you're talking about like changing words, are you referring to maybe like a parent calls me a nickname or maybe a friend calls me a nickname?
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull away
and
from
it's goofy and it's funny and it's light, right?
Yeah, we had had this friend, we call him Fat Matt.
Yeah.
You know, and it's but he got skinnier later, you know, and it probably, you know, it was hard to pull away from that.
Yeah, right. And so there's a lot of community weight with that, right? And so for him to have an open conversation and say, hey, listen, this is how I really feel about that word.
Right.
This is how I really felt when I was younger, right? Like there's no way I'm not holding it against you. I really had to kind of let go of it for myself and realize that I was strong enough to say things about it, right? And so really it's that encouragement and that empowerment to even know how to, or really not even know how to, because sometimes here's what's really true is I have clients all the time and be like, yeah, but I don't know how to say that to this person. And my always response is, you just simply say, I don't really know how to say this to you, but I'm gonna say it because now I've given myself permission to mess up and how to say it, right? And so you can always just say, hey, listen, I don't really know how to say this, but I'm gonna dive in, I'm gonna say it. And I hope you'll understand.
Yeah.
Right.
One memo that you sent me, because we were exchanging memos, was trauma isn't always a big event.
Yeah.
And you know, it sneaks up on you, trauma does.
Sure.
And a lot of people are, and we can dive into, you know, understanding trauma here.
Sure.
We're in can be a cynical world where people laugh at someone else's trauma.
Sure.
Or devalues it, or, you know, maybe just flat out doesn't believe it.
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me because a car wreck can cause trauma, obviously. People getting hurt, dying, all those things are big events. But I think the small events that are kind of callous people to a point where that trauma is hard.
So this is another one of the language identities that I lean into is you separate the traumatic experience from the continuing, evolving trauma behind the bracing physical components and the things that happen on a daily basis that add to it, right? Two completely different things, right? The event that happened, right? I feel like I almost lost my life whenever I was 11 years old in the pool because I felt like I almost drowned, right? And then you get older and you don't like water, right? Like you don't like getting in pools no more at all, yada, 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 right? But every single time you see water, like even if it's in a glass, that may trigger something, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because you notice something or something about it feels different, looks different, is different, smells different, all the things, right? You receive that information so individually dynamic that others just don't process, right? But every single time you experience those encounters, it's still an act of trauma. But it's still, and so what people a lot of times don't realize is trauma truly is your body and your mind protecting you, but then you really have to go through the process of unpacking. But then you really got to go through the process of unpacking the journey.
Yeah, probably the biggest challenge for alcohol, drugs, and things of that nature is your mind's, you know, overpowering, saying you need this in order to desensitize.
Sure.
And deal with the trauma.
Sure.
Instead of getting to the heart of it and working to heal it, right?
Yeah.
The body remembers first.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that. Obviously, we're kind of, you know, looking at these different things that you do with the Brace No More program, the body remembers first. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Man, your body internalizes trauma so very uniquely, right? And this is always an interesting conversation because I don't think people really realize how much your bodies do, right? Of how they internalize trauma, but then they allow you to recognize it within what the constant throbbing of your hip feels like 12 years later. It may not show up till 12 years later, right? But a lot of times, like those episodes of feeling pain in your body are warning signs for you to figure out why and what's going on, as opposed to, oh man, I need to stretch more. Maybe, absolutely, maybe you do, right? I'm not denouncing anything. Physical fitness is great, do it all, right? Eat right, great, do it all, right? But understand and pay attention deeper. Lean in a little bit deeper, right?
Yeah, I recently went through physical therapy. I had a neck impingement, and it was purely from a lack of form. Bad form, neck impingement. But through the process of going through that, there's just a ton of tension. And I mean, everybody has tension of some kind. You have a responsibility to a lot of different people, but I was shocked at how much tension I had.
Right. And so this looks like, and it's absolutely right, this is deeper because this is a cellular cognitive connection with the physical pain and right. And some of that is too, but I mean, the threshold of the scale
is quite a bit,
absolutely right.
But my point is that unbeknownst to me, I had an elevated amount of tension and I didn't even recognize it. Had I not dealt with it through PT, it just happened to be through that impingement, then I could have let it fester for another 10, 15 years. And now I'm bent over, that's my physical presence.
Right.
So let's get into the music side of things.
Sure.
I read a lot of your reviews.
Sure.
You have 93 5-star reviews. And just so you know, guess how many reviews you have total? You have 93.
Yeah.
So you have 93 reviews. All of them are 5-star reviews, which is pretty incredible. I've only had one other guest in 3 years of doing this that has had that type of record. Okay, just so you're in really, really a unique position. A lot of them mentioned the therapy that you've done with a child or with someone with special needs or neurodivergent.
Sure.
So you've been doing this for a very long time. What is it about the music and rhythm? We talked about it before the podcast about how the brain's connected and how the rhythm kind of ties in. And
I'm gonna see if you can remember the word.
Well, I didn't want to say the word because, I don't remember the word. But I know what it meant. I know what it meant. It starts with a B though.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can remember. I'll give you some mnemonic devices of remembering.
Okay.
So it's bi because it's both sides, right? And then lateral.
Lateral. Yeah.
Right. So bilateral, right, bilateral is a word that apparently I am quite fond of and enjoy to the full extent, but also bilateral plus sensory integration and immersion, right, in exercises, right? So for instance, we'll back up. So bilateral is the act of connecting the left side of your brain with the right side of your brain. Why that exists and why that is important is because both sides of your brain have different functions, even in the compartmentalization of the lobes. And you talk about, I'm gonna get a little nerdy right here, but I'll try to explain the nerdiness as I go through it.
Sure.
But so if you talk about what's called the corpus campus, which is what comes up from your central nervous system into your stem, into your skull, that is the connecting piece of the left brain, right brain connection, right? And so when you are activating the left side with the right side, meaning your movement is both at the same time and varies, right? Then or corpus campus is activating in the communication connection, right? So how that is advocated for is adding what things look like, what things smell like, what they sound like, right? What you're actually saying, because what you're saying, and if you're hearing it and recalling it, enforces the auditory component, right? And then you look at what was super popular and has never gone away in importance, what we used to advocate for in the 90s is learning styles, right? That is so very important to look at when you're considering adding bilateral components to exercises, especially when you're working in groups, because not everybody learns at the same pace.
Sure.
Not everybody learns the same at all. You may want to say this slower here as opposed to you can pick it up and say it this quickly to another client, right? Or to another student, right? It just varies. You may even be able to say it like this. You know when you do this right here and yada, 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 like the same thing, right? So you can combine the slow portion of what you say, quick portion of what you say, slow portion of what you say, quick portion of what you say, right? Call and response segment, right? Because I'm saying it, they're saying it, they're hearing it twice, right? But also, what does it look like to color map it in the visual board that I'm stimulating at the same time, right? And so, yeah, and the benefit of it is working with kids in schools is they have higher performance in school, right? Working with neurodivergent adult daycares, right? They have higher memory rate and higher sociability of connecting with their peers, right? The list is on and on and on, right? I'm gonna say this, you read the reviews, you know.
I know, yeah, I did. Absolutely.
Nah, man, it's been a cool journey. I think, man, truly, I really do. I think it's been like 10 years, right? So I started that journey when I lived in Nacogdoches. And I really think like a lot of what I do now started in Nacogdoches. If you were ever interested, just Google search my name and there's like 6 pages of Google. I'm sure you saw that too. And I'm actually super proud of the fact that there's 6 Google pages about me. It's pretty remarkable.
Like,
right?
and the fact you reply to a lot of them too.
Yeah.
Because their words mean so much to you.
They mean a lot.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
Just to name a few, like there were a lot of the children.
Yeah.
You donating your time.
Yeah.
You were a speaker for adults.
Yeah.
And talking to large groups. There was one review where you took over. You were took over an event because they had some audio issues and some adult places that you have gone to make a difference. And then you had those one-on-one sessions with some folks that were challenges, mainly social. And as soon as they get down, maybe some drumming or maybe just one-on-one with you, there's big changes there. So I mean, kudos to you for what you've built and what you've done. You've made huge differences, as those stars have indicated, to your brand. And let's talk about classrooms, because I did see some video of you in classrooms and using some of those. For me, the segments that I saw, non-audio kind of things, I always like watching that because my mom was a pre-K teacher.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
raising your hand to not talk anymore, or different things to we're pointing, or when putting our hands down, and like everybody wants to be kind of a leader to a certain degree.
Sure.
But those non-audio type things really kind of help everybody kind of feel the same. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. No, man. Those moments are super precious. They're super cool. Yeah, man, they just are. Whether they're in large groups or multiple grades in one classroom, or one-on-one with an individual kid, right? Just the look in their eye. And I think sometimes it's so funny, right? Because I'm so in the moment when I'm there, and I don't know, but I also don't know until I see a picture of the thing that happened like 2 weeks later, and I'm like, oh, that meant so much in that moment, right? Yeah, dude, it's super cool. It really is. I've done, like, part of that truly is like I've been honored to partner with Caldwell for the last 4 years. I think it's been 4 years since I've done Drum Talk. So Drum Talk is a program that I've started there that has a lot of social emotional learning, SEL, if you want to know the acronym, because everything has to have an acronym.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's been cool. I even so I spearheaded a summer preschool, but it's before school starts camp, and it's at Caldwell, but they've opened the door to all schools in TISD and then broader than that.
Was that recent? Texas.
It's been recent since they've opened the door to all schools.
Oh, so it's happening now.
It happened earlier this month.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. I would assume a corporate event, because you've done some of those.
Oh, I've done those too.
What does a corporate event look like from your your vantage point? Do you dialogue with some of the leaders prior to, or do they say, "Hey, look,
maybe.
we just change our environment"? Or,
yeah, they look stupid because they're so interesting. Because I do them at like trucking companies and law firms and like just the most random things that you would not recognize. A 6'3" black guy with dreadlocks who looks like the most hippie dude in the world, and I'm in the middle of a trucking company or something, some like law firm or some like community economical growth and development thing, or like, right? And, they look really interesting because of the appearance of what's going on. In essence, they look the same because it's communicating through rhythm, right? There's no different, right? And they may look at it like it's so funny and it's goofy whenever I start bringing the drums in, but my God, like 10 minutes into it, they're right there with me. Yeah, they're right there with me.
They're kids again.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
They're kids again, right? It takes everybody back to at least being able to learn in the same playing field of communication, because they're all kids again, right?
Yeah, for sure. And now, a word from our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by Red Construction and Development, LLC. If you are looking to build or remodel and need the highest quality, best reputation, and 3D rendering, look no further than Red Construction. Call Thomas and his team at 903-630-8660 today. This episode is sponsored by Hoot and Holler Beverage. When I think of Hoot and Holler, their selection and customer service first comes to mind. So skip the big box franchises and make the trip to Hoot and Holler in Gun Barrel City. Between barrel picks, mixers, seltzers, whatever you need for the weekend, they'll help you find it. Stop by today. Scott and team are ready. This episode is sponsored by the Humidor. If you are looking for cigars and want to enjoy a few hours in a great environment with a great staff, the Humidor should be your next stop. With their vast selection and new bar, you'll have a great time every time. This episode is sponsored by Vault Arms, the premier destination for all things firearm related. So if you're in the market for handguns, rifles, or supplies, stop by Vault Arms at 4740 South Broadway or their indoor range at 417 West Elm in Tyler.
Welcome to Casey's Cadence, a sanctuary in the storm, a brain healing rhythm, keeping you safe and warm, reconnecting pathways, calming the anxious mind, a steady pounding heartbeat is the medicine we find.
now back to the 903 podcast.
All right. So let's talk about what families get wrong.
Sure.
I mean, parents, especially first-time parents,
Sure.
aren't perfect.
Absolutely.
But what are some things that you've experienced or that you see? Is there a common denominator, or is it all over the place? Or is there certain things in East Texas that you've seen?
That's a good that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a bold question, and I like that question. So overall, like, this is a good starting point right here, is there's no such thing as right and wrong.
Okay.
When you are raising kids, and here's what's super funny, is this is kind of in communication as a whole, there's no such thing as right and wrong. There is always what works for you. So the language that I love to use and break it down, synonyms of this is more than accurate, this is less than accurate.
Okay.
Right? We need to look at the gaps that are in between, because the whole thing is problem solving. I am an advocate for getting people to learn and understand failure is not a thing that you should really look at as reality, right? You tripped up, but what that's done is you tried, you wanted it to be better. Now you have a room for adjustment. But you would never know where you need to adjust if you did not try, right? So reality, just do it again, but do it differently. Do it again, but do it differently. Even in the language that I speak to kids with is, yeah, that's not wrong. Just do it differently next time, right? Try it longer, try it faster, try it quicker, try this color versus that color, right? And so the same thing with parents, right? It's like, raise your kids to understand that trying does not equip to wrong if they are not successful the first time. Allow them to continue to work and just work and cook in the kitchen until they get it right and get it down, and then they'll want to learn more on their own, right? But if we continue to use the language of right and wrong, then that's demeaning and diminishing, right? And if we teach that language now, right, when they get older, we'd hope that they do the same thing with their kids, right?
Got it. Okay, my next note is from awareness to action.
Yeah.
So now we're getting into a segment where this person or people have received some notification.
Yeah.
They've recognized it. Now it's time to take that first step. Another note I made was, I'm stuck in survival mode. How do I, take steps forward to, where do I start?
Yeah. Remove yourself from the physical whereabouts of where you're at right now and breathe.
Okay.
And that's just an option for the next step, right? Is a lot of times in that place that you're at is so hard to be physically there. Walk outside, breathe. Do not act until you have at least done that, because chances are the action that you're going to make, then there could have been a more accurate action to take, right? So
there you are using the more accurate. You just did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
But you see,
None of your word.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And so, no, that's typically the first action, right? But in truth, like, there's, depending on your circumstances, there's a plethora of things that you can do, or as I love to say, plethora. I don't know why. Words, man, I just love words. I really do. And of course, as you can tell, I love the whole science of breaking down words, but I think that's just a cadence guy, right? It's also why I speak in public, is because I love words, and I love to process what that looks like, and the slowness and the quickness and the stillness and the silence, right? Even in the silence, right? There's things that are said, right? But yeah.
Very cool. All right. You wrote a book. So you wrote multiple books.
Well,
but let's talk about...
Well, I wrote one full book.
One book.
And I wrote a chapter in another book called Holistic Mental Health Volume 2.
Right.
Yeah.
So the cadence and clarity.
Sure.
You wrote that book.
No.
You wrote part of it.
No.
What do you do with that book?
It's not a book.
I thought it was a book.
No, that's my title. I'm the author of Cadence and Clarity.
Okay, so I've got that whole thing wrong.
It's cool.
It's
cool.
So
I kind of like the
what is Cadence and Clarity?
I kind of like the miscommunication.
Right.
Yeah, I really do. I've kind of grown to love that. Cadence and Clarity is initiating and advocating for the independence of walking your own path and establishing your own cadence and not be dependent on other people's frequency to create your own, so that you can allow yourself to be still enough to have clarity in your thinking today.
Okay. So it's about having your own rhythm and your own
cadence, right?
Write your own vibration.
Yeah. Now this is where we get into which word are you going to choose, Casey?
Yeah.
I'm going to say cadence because in truth, rhythm is a little restricting. When you say cadence, that opens up the door for you to explore so much more. It's your breath work, it's your physical stillness, it's how you choose to raise your hands, all the things, right? It's even what you decide to look at right now that can influence your stillness or your behavior or your thought process or your emotions right now.
And it's also how you receive others.
Absolutely.
And how you choose what other cadences you want to be around.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. That will hopefully give you, once we learn the journey, and once you learn the journey, that will bring you the opportunity to have clarity.
Yeah. Well, and you surround yourself with what you want.
Yeah.
A lot of times you get what you want or what you're looking for or that cadence that heals or...
Yeah. But we got to learn that.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's hope I don't mess up anymore.
It's fine. It's fine.
You have the Cliff Notes. I'm the one that gets the butchery.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about trap learning.
Sure.
Because you're this is something that not everybody, all therapists do. Mm-hmm. So you're a chosen one.
Yeah. So in essence, really like the bilateral aspect. Mm-hmm. That's what trap learning is.
Okay.
Right. Trap learning is formed by a guy named Eddie Tadori, who I love with all my heart. He's a California guy, but trap learning is a program that he has that is that program that I am a provider of that is international. It is in every country of the world. And I don't know many people who provide it that are in Texas, so I'm honored. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome, man. What are some phrases that we need to just retire when it comes to trauma or recovery?
So I have this, this is funny. Just say retire, at least consider retiring. I have this adverse reaction to the word basically. And there's people that I love dearly that say the word, and so like it's whatever, right? But it also allows me to audit in my head where it comes from and what their thought process based on belief system is, yada, 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 whatever, right? But it allows me to look at it deeper. Basically is a funny word for me because it is the most pointless word in human vernacular ever. Check it out. So if I tell you that two options of looking at this, right? If I tell you that trap learning is basically a modality that uses sensory integration, but left brain, right brain, blah, 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 blah. But I told you, but I told you that it doesn't really mean that much.
Right.
I'm minimizing it, right? Yeah. Now, if I tell you trap learning is, because I'm coming at it with confidence, right?
Sure.
Now, here's the catch-22 is a lot of times marketers will use basically because they want to establish relatability with their audience, right? Here's the truth. If we had stronger mental health, we wouldn't need that.
Yeah, a lot. I could see some people using it to not make it sound so big.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have a hard time taking that first step, thinking that it's going to be a long process, even though it is.
It is.
It's just going to be.
Because then, like, here's why it's a long process is because, like, after I tell you that you shouldn't be using Basically, now you're like, yeah, but why? What's it connected to? And the what's it connected to is the strings. That's the trauma. That's the belief system, right? That's the who it's attached to. That's the what it's attached to. That's the when time frame it's attached to, right? That's the journey. That's the rough part. Yeah.
All right. So, like I told you before the podcast started, that
Sure.
and a lot of times whenever I'm interviewing a guest, there's going to be questions about costs. You know, and we talked a little bit about that. I'd like to kind of go through some of those things because time is valuable. Your time is valuable. I'm sure there's a lot of outreach and need. So let's walk through kind of how do people access you? What does that time, you know, what's the cost around that look like? Are there different programs that are available? Let's chat about that.
So there's two virtual spaces. There's CaseyMuze.com, which is all the music therapy aspects, right? And then there's bracednomore.info. That's where the free access to the book lives, is Brace No More. The only cost to that is you're gonna fill out the information to get access to my email notifications. So you'll get emails whenever they come out, right? Some people don't like that, whatever, right? But that's always there, right? And with Brace No More, it is a virtual, really awesome experience that is kind of, we call it like a pop-up book of the 90s. You remember those old school pop-up books, right?
Sure.
Had the pages that unfolded and creased, right?
The inflatable ones were awesome too.
Yeah, man, yeah, those were crazy, right? Yeah. So this is a virtual pop-up book experience that has background music for dopamine release and some serotonin stuff there, right? So it's gonna calm your soul, right? But then it also has the pages, like as you flip through it, it's got the pages swishing.
Sure.
Right? But then it also has pop-up sections that say, press this, here's a reflection question. Press this, here's a poem. Press this, here's another reflection question. One of my really most favorite pop-up book sections is press this. This is access to a virtual art gallery that is associated with the book. Right. I
like it.
Also, the cadence calls are absolutely free, right? So it says 30 minutes, they're 30 minutes to an hour, right? And so we block out time to really process what's going on. Now, what's super cool about the cadence call or the immersion package or the orientation package, and so the orientation package, it goes brace call, immersion, brace call, orientation package, immersion package, right? And no matter what package you choose, even if it's a simple brace call, right? And so the questionnaires that you fill out are based on what's called a biopsychosocial principle, right? And so that is understanding the exploration of where that pain has hindered you. Where do you feel it at, right? It's kind of like what we're talking about is, where does that knee throb? Where does that thigh throb, right? Where do you feel these headaches? Is it here? Is it there, right? So that's looking at what the timeline of that is, right? So then the cycle aspect of biopsychosocial is exploring what your mind thinks, what your memories are, what your memories feel about said trauma that is connected to the physical makeup, right? Also, the social component is who was around, what was around, where were you at, what is this time frame that influenced the trauma, right? Going into the second pillar of this is language. We've talked about how important that is, right? Now, what you need to understand that we haven't talked about is the language is nonverbal and verbal.
Sure.
Right? So it's like what is decoded, what needs to be talked about, what is talked about, right? Also, are you quick to advocate and repeat what is trendy?
Well, I bet you that's a big one there.
Right.
Right now.
Right. So do you audit that, right? Do you really understand, is this really going to be worth me repeating, right?
How
Simple
much time
things.
are you on your phone?
You know what I'm saying? Right.
Right.
How many times do you hang out with people and they say things and they do things and you just repeat it, then you leave it and you go to the next circle and you repeat it, and it doesn't mean anything positive at all. In fact, it means the negative thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. So there's all of that you get inside of Brace No More. And if you don't know where to start, go to the book and read it. It's free for everybody to look at and check out. Yeah.
So the initial contact, the 30-minute conversation,
Sure.
cadence, you called it,
Cadence call.
cadence call.
Yeah.
That's kind of your time to kind of establish that
Yeah.
baseline. They've already answered the questions,
Yeah.
and so you kind of have a basis of kind of what's happening.
Here's what's super cool. So because it's biopsychosocial based, when you fill out the questionnaire and I get it, I'm then going to take that questionnaire and your answers and make you a personalized biopsychosocial chart folder that processes the history, the right now, possibly what the future could look like, should look like, would look like, could look like, right? And so in our call, we'll process it. We'll think about it. We'll talk about it. I will give you options to continue what to do daily, weekly, bi-weekly, to look at, to advocate for the growth.
Right. And so that call there's no charge for that call.
No.
And then obviously at that point you're going to be talking about the potential of long-term care, maybe into that, what did you said orientation?
Orientation, and then and so the orientation is a deeper dive of we
Yes.
explore deeper into the biopsychosocial, right?
Right.
The immersion package is at least 8 month, at least 8 month sessions of
8 months?
Yeah,
Okay.
at least 8 month sessions
Okay.
of 2 sessions a month.
Gotcha.
Now, what's super cool about the immersion package is when you're there, let's just say something happens the next week that you don't come to me and see me, right? And you email me and I'll respond therapeutically to your email, right?
Gotcha.
I'll give you all the things, because sometimes the last thing that people need when they're going through therapy is having to keep up with all the events that take place between sessions and having to throw them up out of their mouth. That's stressful, right? So with the immersion package, you get all of those things.
Right. The orientation, it's 2 sessions, couple $100.
Yeah.
And then the immersion package is whatever you decide, or is there set fees?
The immersion package is set up at $800 a month.
Okay, got it. And your full access, and you even said, you're sending emails back and forth as challenges occur.
You also get access to a course. It's called the Quiet Wounds course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that course. What is it? Is it kind of walking you down a path of...
It's built to, in the gaps of sessions, keep you along track of thinking about and planting seeds to consider what biopsychosocial really needs to look like, and people's, places, and things. Sometimes we call it notions, narratives, and notions, nouns, and narratives, right?
Yeah.
Which is looking at what that, because really so with people, places, and things, you have the second part of it. So it's people, places, and things, thoughts, feelings, ideas, and conversations, right? Which is, there's a lot. But
Right.
yeah.
For sure.
So the Quiet Wounds course is built and designed to help you think about what all of those things look like and encourage conversations with me next time you go to sessions and be like, yo, I answered this question and I felt like this, yeah. And we'll go through all the answers during sessions anyway, right? So that will be part of it.
Do you have graduations, or what does it look like when someone's like, are there benchmarks where you're providing praise? Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can imagine.
It's hard work, man.
I bet.
Not like hard work is hard work for them, right?
Yes.
It absolutely is. It sucks.
Right.
It's rough.
It is.
It's honest.
It's
It's
raw.
vulnerable. Yeah.
Raw.
Yeah. It's uncut. Yeah.
Got it. It's been a lot, and but I've really enjoyed it. I told you that. Before we get on with the shout outs, is there anything that we haven't covered that you want to talk about?
No, man, I think you've done a good job. I'm excited. Yeah, it's been cool.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, I've learned a lot during this 3 years. I started this thing and I just, it was like a spinoff of something else I was doing. And
Absolutely.
And then it just out of luck, I started focusing on entrepreneurs and nonprofits, and just like what you guys do is just amazing. Like just what you pour into it and how you impact others too. And I'm just super blessed to have the opportunity to 1 week talk to a birth doula that gives her all in that setting. And then the next week I'm talking to a nonprofit that's having to write grants every month.
Grant writing, that's a journey.
Yep. And then the next week I'm talking to someone who, is trying to build a business around therapies and GLP-1s and what that looks like, because that's really new, and a lot of people are doing that, not just to help with their weight, but also there's some mental changes that happen for folks too.
There's definitely a cognitive component to that.
It's a lot to take in, but I love it. It's just so much fun.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate your time. But now, let's talk about some shout outs for Casey Muze.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure there's a ton of them.
There's too many.
But I prepped you for this, and I don't think anybody would hold it against you if you didn't mention their name.
I ain't worried about it.
Right. No. Oh, that's right. You're not in control of that.
Yeah, I'm in influence, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So we're gonna go by default. We're gonna go my 3 groomsmen at my wedding.
Awesome, man.
We're gonna go Spencer Anderson, who's my best
full
friend.
names, great.
Spencer Anderson. We're gonna go Spencer. We're gonna go Enrique Monguia, who is Salvadorian.
Nice. Okay.
But now is in Nacogdoches, Texas. We're gonna go the hometown hero, Mr. Uriah Johnson himself.
Uriah Johnson, here we go.
Yeah, we're gonna go Mr. Uriah Johnson. We're gonna go my cousin Keno Royal.
Okay.
We're also going to do Jamie Huff from Alzheimer's Alliance, who allowed me to start Percussion Pathways at Alzheimer's Alliance, who retired and is not there anymore. So we're going to go Jamie Huff. Yeah, for sure. Honorable mentions, my mother, Shirley Diane Royal Williams. Gotta go her. My wife.
Sure.
And I'm going to leave it there.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. I always like ending these things with just appreciation. Yeah. Because we're not here because of, we're here because of something.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
Folks have influenced us, helped us.
Yeah, man.
Created a cadence with us.
Come on, bro.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Basically bilateral, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to toss that in there.
I like how you did the alliteration with that too, the basically bilateral.
Yes.
Yeah. Listen, alliteration is funny. I had a friend of mine tell me about alliteration and said, everything that you say should be alliteration in marketing. I'm like, that just is corny.
Right.
And now I'm like, Mr. Alliteration. I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I lean into it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes we catch ourselves doing it too.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm gonna do one more shout out. I'm gonna shout out the 903, but also the 936.
Okay.
Which is East Texas to deep East Texas.
Yeah, for sure.
Because most of what I have formed here today that I sit and have the privilege to talk to you about, which I'm honored for, was started in Nacogdoches, Texas, which is the 936. The 903 birthed me, though.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to do the 936 to the 903.
Awesome, man.
Or 903 to the 936. Yeah. Whatever you want to say. Yeah.
I've loved it, man.
Yeah, dude.
Appreciate it. I'll be keeping an eye on you, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, seeing how you progress and seeing all the opportunities. May even call you on a couple of them, too.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
Come on, man. Yeah.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Welcome to Casey's Cadence, a sanctuary in the storm, a brain healing rhythm, keeping you safe and warm, reconnecting pathways, calming the anxious mind, a steady pounding heartbeat is the medicine we find.